Welcome to Louisville. This is my beautiful Airbnb. So, how do you like that quote? Huh? How do you like that quote? Do you really need to think more? Do you really need to ask more questions, get more information? Do you really need that extra little tidbit before you take action? No, you probably don't. So that's why you need to sign up for the race. That's why you need to hire the person. That's why you need to put money on the line as accountability to do what you really need to do. Because to be honest, one of the biggest things that I did was wait. I needed all of the information. I needed all of the tips. I needed the exact steps to understand how I'm going to get to some area. It could be anything. So for me, I'll just give you the story really quick, is that earlier this year, I didn't actually see myself being a triathlon more than just May. I'm like, I'll do Connecticut, and if I feel all right, then maybe I'll do it longer. But what I noticed is that once you do one race, and by the way, this could be anything, the biggest thing to ask yourself is, you have to see yourself when you're older. I just hired someone earlier this week. And really what I wanted to tell her is, just give me another week. I need to get all of the exact steps and all of the tasks down before you start. But this is the funny thing. She started Monday. Today is Thursday. She's only working 3 hours for 4 days. That's what? 2 days of work? A day and a half, 2 days of work, whatever you want to call it in working terms. I have thought of more ideas in the last 4 days because all I'm thinking is, holy shit, I don't even need to do that. I'm going to give it to her. And then I sat down with her and I said, listen, if there's anything you don't want to do, just give it to someone else. Just tell me what the budget is. That could be a virtual assistant. She's going to be hiring her cousin to do things she doesn't want to do. So that frees up her time to get more tasks off my life. And guess what that also did? That made me hit on Tuesday 100 phone calls. 100. I have never in one day made 100 dials. Then the following day, 70. 2 appointments. Do you understand the excitement level that comes when you actually achieve something that at one time you thought you couldn't handle? And we've all been there. It could be, I don't know, doing something that's normal now, going to the gym, eating correctly, but we're like a little bit cautious. If you start doing something consistently where you ask the question, do I really need more information? Charles, do you really need to get all of the tasks? It will bleed into every area of your life. I'm boarding the plane today. This woman, I was putting my stuff on the overhead thing, and this woman said, oh, watch out for my hat. She's sitting right below. She goes, oh, watch out for the hat. I'm like, sorry to say it, but I just crushed it. She goes, what? And I'm like, I'm just kidding. The whole plane erupts. I would not have had that confidence 2 months ago, okay? There was 3 people that had Ironman bags. And the reason I'm saying this is because I'm doing things that I was never comfortable doing. Okay, these are small things. Okay, another one on top of this is, what am I putting off today for next week? What am I saying, I'll do that later? What is one thing? Just one thing. I would say for me, what is one thing is maybe being a little bit more stern. Yeah, the mustache. You know what's funny? I don't even notice it. It's kind of like a mole. Like after a while, it's like Cindy Crawford. Nobody noticed the mole, but the mustache, obviously, that's very noticeable, and all the women will walk up to me, which is fantastic, and that's all I want. That's the only reason I actually have it. No, I'm kidding, but by the way, amazing space. So if you guys have any questions, I just picked up another book. This book is actually really good. 2 million copies were sold. It's a leadership book. It's fictional, which I hate fictional books, but it's been fantastic so far. I'm definitely going to do a book review. Leadership and Self-Deception. I got it from someone that I regard as a very good leader. What I've noticed in leadership is that it's so corny and all of the cliches matter. By the way, someone else to also look up is Keith Cunningham. Keith Cunningham came out with a fantastic book, very good book, very good book. Go look that up. Just read the Audible. I'm going to rip through the Audible again. Bought the book. I'm going to be buying that book as well. There's some really good books that I'm going to be reading in the next couple of weeks, because once you reach an area and then you plow through that, you go into another area, you plow through that. So I went through willpower. I know willpower. Food, I'm very good at food. You hear all these people. I cannot stress the number one thing in your life needs to be sleep. The number two thing is what you put in your mouth. And number three is how active you are. Most people focus on exercise. It is not exercise. Exercise helps, but you can royally mess up your gut, your attention span, your brain, cancer, all of those things. You can just, sugar kills this, the elasticity of your skin, okay? That's essentially the beginning part of what sugar does. If it could break down this, which is collagen, which is protein, imagine what it's doing to your gut. That's leaky gut. So if you have bloating or bad gas, or you just feel inside, sugar's everywhere. By the way, it's in mustard, it's in ketchup, it's in everything we eat, all the cereals, everything. There's a new movie, Chris, you sent it over, plant-based. All of my protein is plant-based. I don't remember the last time I had an animal. I'm not doing it for health reasons or anything else. I just know that plant-based is the way to go. So maybe I'm doing it for health reasons. I am not doing it for the good cause of helping out a cow. I'm not doing it for that. If it helps, awesome. So plant-based. So essentially gluten-free, by the way. Gluten is in everything. Gluten, the Latin root of gluten is glue. It's glue. That's what binds everything together. Pasta, bread, cereals. It's in everything. It's even in liquids. It binds it together. So when you pour out a liquid, sometimes in a gel, an energy gel, or in a health bar, that's what brings it together. So if you have gluten, which everyone is eating, unfortunately, reduce it. Gluten is glue. It cannot be digested by the body, okay? So that's the number one area. But the reason I bring up sleep, because sleep, essentially, there's a great book by Matthew something, that might be his first or his last name, but it's called Why We Sleep. If you read that book, so this is the problem. Most people do not understand that we are actually animals. Yes, thank you, Matt Walker. We're animals, okay? So people think everything is a construct. Like the reason we like blood and gore or drama is a construct. It's not, okay? If you look at the freaking animal kingdom, we're the last thing. Consciousness, the prefrontal lobe, essentially this, which was the last part to develop. By the way, if you hear Elon Musk and he talks, all he talks about is consciousness. He doesn't talk about humans. He goes, we need to expand consciousness into the universe, which is very interesting. He says that word, and he's deliberate about those words. So essentially, sleep is everything. From sleep, you then add on to the food. Then you have the other pyramid, which is movement. When it comes to movement, stretch, water. And the reason being is that we have all of this underneath here, I'm forgetting the term right now, is all connected. So in other words, you have the skin, and right below the skin is connected to all the muscles. If you ever watch them making dough for the pizza. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, that cheese is not real, okay? And the reason I'm saying in the portion of this video is because we're doing things to ourselves. And ironically enough, the guy to my left that I was sharing an airplane ride with, great guy, 40 years old, has his shit together. You know, he's gonna blow me out of the water in 42, blow me out of the water in the Ironman. But essentially, fascia, by the way, which is what I was thinking of. Fascia is connecting everything. And I think that's why when stress happens, it's essentially in an area and they say, oh, my back is tight, or my hips, or something like that. Yeah, if you look at the plate sizes of the 1700s, it was the size of the saucer that we would put tea onto. It was a tea saucer size. So the guy to my left was saying, so he works for IT and he does servers. And I was talking about Google and how it's connecting the world, which, by the way, probably not the best thing. But in there, he was telling me that people, regardless, they would rather, and Tony Robbins has said this, is that they would rather stay to the identity of who they are than change. And it's funny when you hear that and then he says it and you go, wow, that's why. You look around the plane, so many people are large. You look around the plane, nobody wants to change because that's the human animal, okay? We are not meant to sit down, okay? We would not have survived. There's no way. Nobody would have procreated. Nobody would have dated you. You're the lowest one on the totem pole. You're cast away. You're dead. You're infantry in a sword fight, or you're in the front row of a battle. You're not in the back on a horse with the generals. You're in the front. You're expendable, okay? So you have to understand, okay, bonobos are the closest ones to us. And essentially, what this one scientist was saying about evolution is that most cavemen really only worked hard for 4 hours. Okay, so they would forage, they would hunt for 4 hours and the women would forage. And they would come back and essentially stay there. That's all 4 hours is a long time to hunt, by the way. Okay, imagine being out on a 4-hour hunt. You're hungry. You really want that animal. And essentially the animal, you take that fat feeds the brain, okay? Obviously ketosis there, not gonna go into that. But if you look at that and then you go even further down the line, obviously you go amphibians and mammals are the last thing, and you go all the way down and you literally just get to animals and you understand dating. You understand why we're lazy, because we needed short term to survive. A lion's not thinking, I wonder what I'm gonna eat tomorrow when he's hungry today. It's the exact same thing. I'm not gonna worry about my weight or my relationship or my money. I would rather spend it today. I have a good friend that's exactly what he's thinking. And unfortunately, he's never gonna live without roommates because he spends all of the money. All of the money, there's no savings. I wanna go to Colombia today. All right, go to Colombia, fantastic. You're living in the now, okay? Charles, does that tell me not to enjoy the moment? For me, I don't really give a shit, okay? I actually test myself by when the shower is getting too comfortable, I turn it off because that's life. When I get too comfortable, I already talked about this and I want to bring it up with someone, David Goggins, is that I re-listened to his book on the way down here. What's going on, Erwin? How we doing? The stash is back. Chris is on the phone as well. I was re-listening to it, and David Goggins comes in, and he has a line in there, and he goes, I feel like God put me here to suffer. And I really like that, because there was a quote that I just read. It was actually in the Keith Cunningham book that I just read, I just listened to. And Keith Cunningham said, we always want a destination. We always want a destination. Where am I going? And then I'll stop. I want the body. I'll stop. I got the girl, I'll stop. I got the money, I'm gonna stop. It's like Louisville. I come to Louisville and then I stop. Stop what? So what he says in the book, and it's an amazing quote from David Goggins to Keith Cunningham, and you'll start connecting all of these. And the book that I'm reading is a fictional book, but I'm up to the chapter where they start calling this guy out. It's early on in the book, but they say everyone sees it but you. Your wife sees it, your colleagues see it, I see it, I'm your boss. You don't see it. It's this self-deception. You feel you're always right. You don't want to, you trick yourself on things you should not be doing, but then you say, you justify it that it should be done. Example was before. Hey, Linnea, who's the director of growth, she's essentially going to be growing it, putting together the systems that I don't want to do at BPI. And I sat with her, and that was the main conversation. That was the main conversation, is that there's a lot of things I don't want to do. And there's a lot of things that you're really good at. In the book, it essentially, I started thinking about, I'm like, what does she see that I don't see? And I wanted to justify hiring her a week later because I'm like, I got Ironman, I'm going to be in Louisville, I don't have all the systems and the exact things to do every single minute you're at my office and I'm paying you to be at my office. I need every single... Dude, have her start. You'll figure it out. There is a confidence that when she goes a week, everything is handled. You start thinking of a ridiculous amount of things that she's going to do that you don't need to do anymore. That confidence level is amazing. It's feel the fear and do it anyway. Dr. Susan Jeffers talks about it. The number one thing to be able to handle it. That is the core. I call someone and they say, go fuck yourself, I don't want to do business. The core thing is, I'm not going to be able to handle that reaction. Or the opposite is true. Everyone you call wants to do business. And then you have a fear of growth and a fear of success, so you don't make the calls. Or you stop calling. Or you say, that's enough, I can't handle anymore. So every fear is, I'm not going to be able to handle wealth. I'm not going to be able to handle having my own business. I'm not going to be able to handle having this person start a week early. That's the core of it. So when you actually think of the question that's on here, the title of this video, you actually start saying a whole host of questions. And I'm going to leave you with this, is that in my calendar 2 times a week for 15 minutes, because you can't start at the top, but you just do 15 minutes, just have a baseline. Don't have a top, just have a baseline. 1 minute meditation a day. That's it. 1 minute meditation. But for 15 minutes a day, I'm going to sit on a question in silence. I have had more silence. Lyft picks me up. I get on my phone. It's driving me to LaGuardia, which is in New York, and I'm going to be flying off to Louisville. And guess what? I get on my phone and I look at my phone and I'm like, dude, get off your phone. And the reason I tried to force myself to do work. And I said, no. And I sat there and I enjoyed the 45-minute ride. Same thing from Louisville to here. I love silence. I love no distractions. I love it. I bask. I bathe in it. Everyone else gets uncomfortable. Everyone else. And do you understand the amount of the audacity, the bold questions that you ask when you walk into a conversation, whether it's in person or on the phone, and you are able to stand there and actually think of something to say instead of just filling the silence and blah onto the conversation. You're able to sit there, and guess what the other person does? They fill the conversation. And if it's someone you're negotiating with, they usually lose it. If it's someone you're talking to, they're usually uncomfortable, and now you're controlling the frame instead of them. So that's influence, that's selling, that's asking the right questions. It's giving you time to think. You're also more confident. You ask bolder questions. I'm asking questions that I've probably never asked before. Hey, I know we're on for 2.2 million. Are you willing to go to 2 million instead? There are things, this is all connected. Leadership is serving, but that's also sales. Leadership is asking the right questions to know if you're the right person for them. Are they coachable? That's also sales. Understanding your target market is also hiring, which is also the right customer. So that's marketing, sales, hiring, and leadership. What do you want in a spouse or a partner? You market you to them, but to the right person by asking the right questions. I just said it on my stories, is that I'm only right for 1% of the population, female-wise. And that's all I'm looking for. Because I don't want to deal with 99% of them because they're not eating right. Or they're bitching and moaning and playing victim and they're watching too much Real Housewives or whatever the hell else is on TV. Instead of maybe exercising or reading a book or meditating or yoga. I don't give a shit what she does because it's going to be different than me. But it's that 1% that understands me, that I'm doing this thing. And that's my two things right now. 2020 is coming up. Do you understand what that is? That's an election, okay? I don't know anything about politics, nothing. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about even much about real estate news. And I can tell you right now, when you have the enthusiasm and the confidence, because you're not, it's known as residual attention, and it's brought up in the one thing. You're essentially bringing this into your conversation. Oh, do you mind if I just, yeah, I know, I just watched the news. Is it all right? Is it all right? Did you see it? Can you do business? You're bringing that into your conversations. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to listen to that anymore. Nobody wants that. So for me, because I don't watch the news or listen to the news or watch TV or watch movies or anything else, and it's on purpose because I have an addictive personality. By the way, good wording, Charles. You don't have an addictive personality, whatever you want to say. But when I actually not bring any of that into the conversation and I'm free to be who I am, which is a little bit nutty, but I'm drawn to people. I'll give you an example. There's a place on the Upper East Side. I would have died to list this place a year ago. I didn't jive with the owners at all. They had 4 apartments. Would I have wanted to list it? Yeah. Did we really get along? No. We didn't jive at all. So guess what? I didn't follow up with them. It's the same thing with your life. You look at the people in your life, friends-wise, and you say, not really helping out. I'm going to hang out with these people. This girl, she drinks too much. She parties too much. She spends too much. She doesn't really have a bright future. She's talking about the weekend too much. She's pissed that I'm not getting back to her. Not my type. And by the way, it could be any one of those, okay? Who you hire, who you work with, everyone, it all matters. And guess what? It's not them, it's you. It's you. It's you. If you don't respect yourself to actually ask the right questions or say no to business, that's not on them, it's on you. If I don't actually be my authentic self, and I'm not even there, I'm just working on this 1% every single day. I'll give you this example. This is an amazing example. This is going to be I know I brought this story up, but I was looking at Lake Placid. And I can honestly say this here because none of my friends watch any of these videos. But I was looking at the Ironman at Lake Placid. And one of my friends biked it in 17 miles an hour. And then my other friend biked it at 18 miles an hour. Do you understand when one person is going 18 miles an hour and the other person is going 17 miles an hour? You don't notice that at all. Like literally, it would just be like this. It would be like, oh. Not even. They're like riding up to you and then riding with you and then just slowly going by. And this is the funny thing is, one person finished 1 hour faster. 1 hour faster. Instead of 5 hours and 30 minutes, they finished in 6 hours and 1 hour. That's the compound effect. 1 hour difference. I brought that into my life. I took that example and I just said, what am I not compounding now? Where in my life am I looking at an area that looks really large? One example would probably be personal speaking. I look at the best in the world, the Tony Robbins, the Brian Tracy's, the Grant Cardones, the Bob Proctors, the people that can hold an audience. By the way, you know who's really good is Tom Bayou from Impact Theory. And I look at that and I say, man, they control an audience. Or someone that's really good, like a Bill Burr, and they can control an audience. And I look at that and I go, wow, that is mastery. I'm looking at mastery, but I'm not looking at the journey to get there. And what's his name was just on, Jim Gaffigan was just on Lewis Howes. And he talks about it, and Jim Gaffigan goes, I sucked for 8 years. Everyone wanted me to stop. No one thought it was a good idea to make it in comedy. And I thought about it and I said, Charles, if you're 8 years from now, you're the same age as that guy to my left. The guy to my left had an amazing life. He loved his life. He literally looked at me in my eyes and he goes, yeah, I just love my life. Because I asked him, I said, no kids, nothing? He goes, no. He goes, I love my life. I don't know if I'm going to have that. That's him doing him. But I looked at that and I said, holy shit, imagine me at 42. By the way, the time is going to go anyway. Look at your parents or whoever raised you and say, I was tying my tie this morning and I was like, I just thought of my dad and I just said, holy shit. My dad at one time was tying his tie at 34 years old and now he's 84. That's crazy. That is crazy to think about. At one time, at one mirror in the world, maybe in or out of the military, because he was Army, he was tying his tie and he was getting shipped off. And I'm like, wow, I'm just renting this shirt. I'm just renting this place. I'm renting this watch. I'm renting this body. That's it. It's too cliche to say one life because people go, oh yeah, no, I know. But they notice at 45 or 50 years old and they say, holy cow, where'd my 30s go? Where'd my 40s go? So I implore you, because everyone on here is my age or younger, I implore you to think of older people and understand at one time they were your age, or people you work out with and say, or you work with and say, they're having issues maybe with their back. And I would say, start stretching now. I stretch every single day. I heard David Goggins' story, and then I heard someone else at the gym. He started really messing up his back. And I said, I need to stretch now. Then I looked up stretching, and it said, if you're not hydrating, it's like a dry steak instead of a nice moist steak. And those are our muscles. So I started drinking more. I started using electrolytes. Now, not when there's a problem, now. So when there is a problem, it's later on. It's not at 40, it's at 60 or 70, okay? Because when I'm 40, I'm maybe not gonna be biking as fast. My stretching is very straightforward. I stretch the areas where it's tight. It's very straightforward. Whatever is tight, I sit there for 60 seconds and I stretch it out. Very basic, very basic. Nothing, no crazy anything. Even just this, where you put your legs and then you lean over. You're essentially stretching this, and then you put the other leg. You're stretching your IT band. Your IT band is one of the most important things that you have in your body. It stretches from the lower part of your back right through your T band. So I don't know, right around there. It connects your back all the way through your hips to your alongside your legs, and you feel it. You can actually feel it. I felt it yesterday. It's really weird. I can't feel it today. I don't know where it was, but it's really weird feeling. It feels literally like an elastic band among muscle. Yeah, it's really weird. I was like, whoa. It's a really weird feeling to feel your IT band because I was having issues yesterday. And then I sit Indian style, and then I do the Muslim prayer pose, which is you fold your knees, and then I stretch out in front of me for swimming, obviously. My calves as well. It's vital. And also, if you're taking anything, look at the back of it and understand that there's probably gum involved, G-U-M, like chewing gum. But gum binds liquids, and a lot of these companies use gum. There's a wonderful product out there. It's called Forager. Forager, I think, is in California based, and I drink their coconut water. And it's no gum, no gluten, no preservatives, no additives, nothing. You open it and you have to drink it in a week. That's what I want. You don't want something that lasts. That's a preservative. Why can you have a Twinkie? What's his name? I think it's either David Perlmutter or someone has a Twinkie sitting on their desk and it's been there for 12 years. It looks exactly the same. That's embarrassing. So anyway, you're a lean guy. Do you ever feel like I'm fit now? I'm maxed out, dude. I'm maxed out on the weight. I'm not dropping any more weight. I can't. I'm like 155, 156. I'm a lean dude. I run like a banshee. I bike like a banshee. Any of the triathletes, they're all lean. To be honest, this is my body type. Even when I played rugby, it was a struggle. It was a real struggle. I was probably like 185, 190 when I played rugby. And it was a real struggle to keep that weight. So, and right now, if you're having protein, please do plant-based and don't do synthetic. Anything synthetic is not good. I'm only doing synthetic goos and gels now because I will have a banana on the ride, but natural and anything else. Well, anyway, I got to pop out. 7:42. You must have a fast metabolism. I'm also very active. I'm walking at least 15,000 steps a day. And I also only have 3 meals and I don't snack. And I also don't drink alcohol. I was actually thinking about it today. I'm like, I drink alcohol maybe once a month, but lately it's probably been once a quarter. I haven't drank in maybe a month. So I drink alcohol maybe once a month. Everything is in a quarter. I have meat once a quarter. I'm not going to go completely vegetarian. I don't smoke pot. I don't do pills. Never had a prescription in my life. Ooh, what else is bad? Sugar. I get a headache now, which is really good. I like that because my body is not used to it. So when you have a lot of sugar, one Heineken gets me already buzzed. Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I'll have an IPA and it's crazy. I used to be able to, I don't even want to say it on camera, but I used to have a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it on camera. Just in case down the road, I'm running for Supreme Court. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I'll leave you with this is that and by the way, the one thing that I need to get away from is coffee. That's the one thing, cold brew coffee, I need to get away. So that's it. The future for Charles, 2020, I would start thinking about it. For me, I really want to start getting on the 30 grams of hemp seeds, 30 grams of public, oats smoothie. Yep, that's it. Hemp seeds, any kind of that. Peanuts are very good for your brain. Avocados, fat in both of them, healthy fat. By the way, fat is good for you. If you really look at the study, by the way, when you're brushing your teeth or you're washing your hands, Crest in the 1940s or 50s, they had a scientist that they needed to sell more toothpaste because it was only once a day. So they needed to sell more toothpaste. So this guy said, listen, why don't we sell them this thing that actually makes it bubble. And by the way, that lathering is something that makes it bubble. Have you ever had conditioner? I don't wear deodorant or wash my hair or soap my hair, but conditioner used to be soap and toothpaste. And now they add something, or they did in the 40s and 50s, and then they said, lather up. And then that sold everything. They said you should do it twice a day. Bacon was a dessert. And then someone said, why don't you do bacon and eggs in the morning? And guess what happened? Everyone started enjoying the bacon. So just understand that everything being sold to us was probably by someone on Madison Avenue trying to make a couple of dollars for a company that hired them. All right, an iPhone. iPhone is now moving to individuals. I'm sorry, Apple is moving to individuals instead of business. That's what the guy to my left said, because that's where entrepreneurs are going, because it's been democratized. And that's, as Peter Diamandis says, is that everything's been democratized. So when it's democratized, that means it's less expensive. It's easy to do anything. You don't need anything but an internet connection. You already have a device that's obviously been on the space shuttle. Everyone's been talking about those cliches. My 2020 goals, I'll say it right now. Number one is to get on the speaking circuit, to have a videographer more consistently doing videos. And those are my two big ones, is understand how to start public speaking. E-Myth, absolutely. He actually wrote me a nasty email. I took his course, and he wrote me a 3-paragraph, really angry email, and I just said, "Wow, I was just giving you feedback, and I was just saying I don't think it was worth the whatever amount of money I spent for your course, the $200 I spent for your course." And he wrote a really nasty 3-paragraph, might have been even longer, email. And so in a case like that, what's your reaction? My reaction was, when I'm at his public figure or his book selling height, then I'm not going to act like that. That's what I decided. It's like when I see someone that's wealthy. There's this guy I met at a T. Harv Eker is his name. T. Harv Eker. He wrote Millionaire, whatever. Good book. The course is disgustingly salesy and brutal. There's no time. Go to the back and sign up for the next course. It was like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, T. Harv Eker, whatever. I met this guy there. Beautiful head of hair, gorgeous daughters, beautiful wife, boat, very wealthy, made a ton of money in the diamond business. I'm sorry, in the fashion business. Don't buy courses that are, 100%. 100%. I bought, what's his name's? The guy that wrote Atomic Habits, blanking on his name. And I bought his, James Clear, and I bought his book, his course, and that was not worth it at all. That was like $100. No way. But you're right. So this is what I got out of it. This guy, very handsome, in shape, tan, beautiful daughters, beautiful wife, boat, loved his job. I literally went out to lunch, and I said, can I buy you lunch and just pick your brain? Because you have everything I want at your age. So he started going over his life. And he just said, I just was making decisions. And at the time, this was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, okay. But now that I think about it, literally right now, because I just thought of that story as I'm speaking now, making decisions is better, and essentially is the title of this video. And the decision I made was I need someone to help me. And I kind of put that out, and I kind of got someone great, and I am really excited for the future. I totally reworked my finances as well, where anytime I get paid back in the day, if I got paid to BPI, I would then transfer it after expenses and everything else, I would transfer it to my bank account. That's not smart. Okay. Learn from my mistakes. So you want to get paid in your LLC and then pay you a salary, and then you get taxed on the salary. So that's the smart way to do it. Also, you save more money, and it's an easy avoidance just in case you get, obviously, IRS involved in your life, which as a entrepreneur or a contractor, you probably will at one time get audited. It's just a fact. People like freaked out. They're like, when Donald said he was getting audited, I'm like, clearly they've never owned a business. I've been audited 4 times. Like, everyone that owns a business gets audited. If you're a C Corp, that's different. But if you're an LLC or something along those, a restaurant or a cleaners or anything, you're getting audited. You better have a good paper trail. So this is the thing, is that my finances, so I'm going to pay myself a salary, and I just started putting more money into the Vanguard low cost index fund. I could send that along. I think there was a minimum, I think it was 10,000, but I went with one that was like a minimum of $5,000. And the reason I did that is because I looked over the 5, and the cost was like 0.25, which is crazy. I used to pay someone who managed my money 4%. So I had to make at least 4% to cut even. Do you understand what that means? I was losing money. It's crazy. Mutual funds, not a good idea. Until you become very wealthy, and then you can put your money where, the smart people put their money. But I eventually want to be buying and or selling businesses. Or taking over businesses. So I really need to know the financial. So essentially, this is what I'm getting to, is that I want to run BPI like a public corporation. So that means that every single quarter, you're going to be able to see our expenses, our marketing. I want to have a videographer essentially doing what Gary Vaynerchuk does. I want more transparency to our phone calls, to our deals, to the way we run business. It's a great recruiting tool. It's a great tool for clients to know how we work. It's also a great way to hold us accountable. So did you see the Real Deal LLC is not going to be able to hide anymore by buying properties? Yeah. Oh, it got passed? That blows. I don't understand. New York City is a bunch of freaking knobs. De Blasio they just raised the taxes, so it's less investment. We booted out Amazon. We're getting rid of LLCs. Do they not see that it's not good? Why are there not more people investing in New York City? And people don't understand why. People will talk about politics, and I'm like, stop right there. I'm going to leave. And then they get mad at me. You should know. This is what the Democrats did. This is what Donald did. What the fuck am I going to do? Go down to the White House or call one of the Democrats? What the fuck am I going to do? I don't donate to any of them. I just want to live the life, the path that I'm on, and you should too, where it doesn't matter if they raise the taxes, because you have the freedom to move somewhere else, or to invest in something else, or know you're going to make more money, or sell an expensive asset. That is freedom. And the only way to get to freedom, I didn't grow up wealthy. My parents weren't, and I'm blessed because nothing was handed down. I'm learning this just like you. So essentially, I am investing in a low-cost index fund, okay? So that can eventually maybe go to a videographer. I eventually want to open up all of my finances to the world. Every quarter we put out just like a public company and talk about, I'm also going to be doing a podcast with my director of growth, where she's going to be literally interviewing me on things, because she is not from the real estate world. She's from the non-for-profit world. So she's coming in and saying, dude, you just said something. We need to expand on this. So my BPI podcast, it's not going to be this. I have to have someone that translate this to a video and then post it. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll pay someone to do that again. I should do that, right? I don't know. My views were like at 50 or 60, so I don't know, on podcasts, so we'll see. Anyway, it's 8 o'clock. Enjoy your day. I'll probably not be going live. I'll be posting on Instagram, but just make decisions, as that guy in Florida said. And by the way, that guy in Florida, this is the last thing I'll say, is the guy in Florida had to start selling a lot of assets. And the reason he started selling a lot of assets because all the diamonds went overseas. Then he got into fashion. Then all the fashion went overseas. And then he didn't adjust. Again, he thought he would ride. He could just ride the wave. I know way too many of my friends' parents. I know way too many. Oh, they had to sell houses and move into condos because they did not adjust. They did not think to save money. They didn't think that at one time, if I don't think that someone is trying to go after the $50 billion real estate commission industry, I'm an idiot. They're thinking about it every day. You pay me a set fee and I'll sell your house, or I'll do it for 1%, or go on this app. If you don't think they're coming after real estate, you're an idiot, okay? I want to be in that percentage that survives. I want to be those travel agents that are still around that my brother uses because he's too busy, but he has the money to pay someone. He doesn't want to plan an 8-day trip with his wife and kids. He doesn't know where to start. His wife is too busy too. That's where I want to get freedom. So you should too. Stop thinking. You don't need any more information. Start making decisions.